Hey guys, welcome to Real Talk English. In this video, I want to walk you through a clear, step-by-step plan on how you can go from an A2 level of English all the way to a B2 level. There is actually a huge gap between these two levels, and in this video, we're going to break it down together. We'll try to assess your current level of English, and of course, for a formal assessment, you should take an official language test. But for the purpose of this video, I want you to understand where you are right now. And most importantly, I'll give you a step-by-step plan on how to improve and reach B2. So, let's get started. Make sure to watch this video until the very end, because I'll give you a full schedule that you can start implementing today. First of all, let's talk about language levels. According to the CEFR scale, there are 6 levels of language proficiency. These levels are A1, A2, B1, B2, C1, and C2. A1 means beginner or starter, and C2 means proficient or mastery. Basically, A1 and A2 are your basic levels, while C1 and C2 are your advanced proficient levels. This system is part of the Common European Framework of Reference. In the U.S. system, this roughly means going from Level 2 to Level 4. Level 2 is usually called a high beginner, and Level 4 is a high intermediate. And when we talk about your English level, we're always talking about 4 main skills: reading, writing, listening, and speaking. Now, let's dive deeper into the difference between A2 and B2. At the A2 level, you usually know between 1,500 and 2,000 words. To reach B2, you need to know around 3,000 to 4,000 words. When it comes to listening, at the A2 level, you can understand people talking about everyday topics, like family or work. For example, I have a family of 4. I have 2 kids. Emily is 4, Lily is 2. I work as a YouTube influencer, and I also run a company that helps people learn languages. It's called Real Talk English, and we have amazing teachers there. At the B2 level, you can understand both personal and professional conversations. For example, I recently attended an AI conference where I met a prominent investor. His name is Vought Claw. He's a co-founder of S Microsystems. His prediction is that AI will replace most teachers and doctors by 2028. When he said that, I was honestly kind of freaking out. This is an example of a personal and professional conversation at the B2 level. At this level, you're also able to understand movies. So tell me in the comments, how are you doing with movies right now? I'm talking about movies without subtitles, about everyday topics, not documentaries about nuclear weapons, but regular day-to-day movies. If it's something more complex, like a documentary on Netflix, you might still understand it, depending on the difficulty. Now let's continue. We talked about vocabulary and we talked about listening. If you're at an A2 level, you can understand short texts and simple letters. A good example would be a bus or a train schedule. At the B2 level, you can read newspapers and understand technical vocabulary. When it comes to writing, at A2, you can write short messages, postcards, and simple notes in English. At B2, you're able to handle all kinds of writing, including business communication. For example, "Hello, dear investor. Here's an update on how our startup is doing. We've been growing 20% month over month, and we're currently looking at an annual revenue of $10 million. This type of email is usually around B2 C1 level. When it comes to speaking, at A2, you can have simple conversations, talk about friends, and give compliments. This is actually one of my favorite ways to practice English. You just walk down the street and say, "Nice jacket. Oh my God, where did you get your shoes? I love your sweater." Very American. At the B2 level, you can have full conversations with native speakers. You can debate, you can argue, you can negotiate, and you can defend your point of view. Now let's talk about grammar. At A2, you know adjectives and comparatives: good, better, best; bad, worse, worst. You know basic tenses like past continuous, phrasal verbs, and modal verbs like must, can, could, should, and have to. This doesn't mean you make no mistakes. It means you have a foundation. At B2, you're comfortable with advanced grammar: future perfect continuous, mixed conditionals, and phrases like if only I knew or I wish you were here. Now, you might be asking, Lily, where is my study plan? And this brings us to step 1. Step 1. Check your skills and start with the hardest part. As you were watching this video, you probably noticed that some areas felt harder than others. That's exactly where you should start. When you begin your learning journey, you have motivation and energy, so use it to tackle the hardest things first. Don't let your ego stop you. I made that mistake myself, and it was very hard to fix later. Step 2. Find your most productive time. For me, it's the morning. Find the time of day when your brain works best and block it in your calendar. Even 20 minutes a day can make a huge difference. Step 3. Pick your English learning style. Now, let's talk about step number 3. And this step is extremely important because even the best study plan won't work if the learning style doesn't fit your life. Before choosing books, apps, or courses, you need to ask yourself one honest question. How do I actually learn best? Not how you want to learn, not how influencers say you should learn, but how you personally stay consistent. Some people learn best with structure. Others need flexibility, and some people need external pressure to stay motivated. Let's go through the main learning styles so you can recognize yourself. The first option is learning with a tutor. This can be incredibly effective because you get personalized feedback, corrections, and real conversation practice. A tutor can immediately point out your mistakes, help you fix pronunciation, and adjust lessons to your weak areas. However, there are 2 common problems here. First, tutors can be expensive, and second, tutoring requires strict scheduling. If your life is unpredictable, if you work irregular hours, or if you have kids, this option might be difficult to maintain long-term, and consistency is everything. The second option is taking an online English course. This is one of the most popular formats today, and for a good reason. A well-designed course gives you structure, but also flexibility. For example, instead of a 60-minute live lesson, you might have short pre-recorded videos that last 10, 15, or 20 minutes. This means that even on busy days, you can still study English. Online courses usually include grammar explanations, listening practice, speaking tasks, writing exercises, and sometimes even pronunciation training. Another important advantage is progression. You always know where you are, what lesson comes next, and what skill you're building. This is especially helpful if you're moving from A2 to B2 because you need a clear roadmap. The third option is studying at a language school. This can be in an English-speaking country or in your own country. This format works well if you enjoy group learning, fixed schedules, and classroom environments. Language schools also give you a sense of accountability because you show up, you participate, and you move forward with others. However, this option is less flexible and usually more time-consuming. The fourth option is solo learning. This means textbooks, apps, YouTube videos, podcasts, flashcards, and self-made schedules. Solo learning can work very well if you are disciplined and if you truly enjoy the process. But it also requires honesty. If you start many apps and finish none, if you constantly jump from one resource to another, then solo learning might slow you down. The best solution for most learners is actually a combination. For example, an online course for structure, plus podcasts for listening, plus speaking practice with apps or partners. The key idea of step 3 is this: choose a learning style that you can realistically follow for months, not weeks. Because English is not learned in one burst of motivation, it's learned through small, repeated actions over a long period of time. Step 4. Create a realistic and balanced study plan. Now, let's move on to step number 4, your study plan. This is where everything comes together. A good study plan is not complicated, but it must be balanced. Your plan should always include all 5 core areas of the language: vocabulary, listening, reading, writing, and speaking, with grammar supporting all of them. Let's start with vocabulary. Your goal is not to memorize hundreds of words at once. That never works. Aim for 5 to 7 new words a day. This may sound small, but over time, it adds up. Focus on topics instead of random words. For example, family and relationships, work and career, education, travel, housing, health, environment, technology, and everyday life. When you learn new words, don't just translate them. Listen to how native speakers pronounce them. Notice stress and intonation. And most importantly, use the words in sentences. Now, let's talk about listening. Listening should be part of your daily routine, even if it's just 10 or 15 minutes. You can listen to podcasts, audiobooks, YouTube videos, or interviews. After listening, try to summarize what you heard. Say it out loud or explain it to an imaginary friend. This step is powerful because it connects listening and speaking. You can also practice note-taking. This is especially useful if you plan to take an English exam or study abroad in the future. Now, reading. Reading helps you see grammar in context and expands your vocabulary naturally. Read regularly, but choose material that matches your level. Your goal is understanding, not perfection. If you need to look up every third word and you feel frustrated, the text is too difficult. Choose something easier. Learning must be enjoyable most of the time. Gradually increase difficulty as your confidence grows. Now, writing. Writing forces you to organize your thoughts in English. This is something many learners avoid, but it's essential for reaching B2. Write short texts, messages, journal entries, summaries, or short opinions. Get feedback whenever possible. You can use tools, teachers, or language platforms. Practice different writing styles because B2 requires flexibility. Speaking is often the hardest part, but also the most rewarding. Use speaking apps, language exchange partners, or even talk to yourself. Describe your day, your plans, your opinions. Practice reacting, not translating. Finally, grammar. Don't try to study all grammar at once. Focus on one topic at a time. Especially important for B2 are future forms, conditionals, passive voice, and advanced sentence structures. Grammar should support communication, not block it. A strong study plan is realistic, flexible, and built around your life, not someone else's routine. And if you follow this plan consistently, B2 becomes a matter of time, not talent. Step 5. And now we come to the final step. Step number 5. Practice, practice, practice. I'm saying it 3 times on purpose because this is the step that actually turns knowledge into real English. You can watch videos, you can study grammar, you can learn vocabulary, but if you don't practice, your English stays passive. Practice means using English as part of your everyday life. One of the simplest things you can do is switch your phone, computer, and social media settings to English. This may feel uncomfortable at first, but that's a good sign. It means your brain is learning. Another powerful habit is choosing specific days of the week when you consume content only in English. For example, English-only Tuesdays or English-only weekends. Watch YouTube videos, scroll social media, read articles, and listen to music in English. This creates immersion without moving to another country. Speaking practice is especially important. Don't wait until your English is perfect. It never will be. Use speaking apps, language exchange platforms, or simple daily self-talk. Talk about what you're doing, what you're thinking, what you plan to do later. You can also retell stories from podcasts, videos, or books in your own words. This builds fluency and confidence. If you have kids, try speaking English with them during simple daily routines. Even short phrases matter. Mistakes are not a problem. They are part of the process. Every mistake means you're actually using the language. And finally, consistency. Small practice every day is much more powerful than long sessions once a week. English grows through repetition, exposure, and real use. If you practice regularly, your confidence increases, your fear disappears, and one day you realize that English has become a natural part of your life. And that's exactly how you reach B2. Thank you so much for watching this video until the end. I hope this plan helps you move forward, and I wish you the best of luck on your English learning journey. I'll see you very soon in my next videos. Bye!